Hello everyone, I am Vikshmaya Chalkani. I am going to explain the magnetism due to moving charges, or we can say the magnetism due to currents. Okay, that one. We see directly. Right. Moving charges. So earlier, the electricity and magnetism phenomena are treated as independent. They are not dependent on each other. So, so these words or these phenomenon are the properties of solids identified 2000 years ago. So they have been known for us more than 2000 years ago. But it was realized just 200 years ago. That means from 1820 onwards by H.C. Oersted that they were related to each other. They are not independent, they are dependent. Okay. Current in a straight wire caused a deflection in a nearby magnetic compass needle. While he was doing some experimental works, he noticed that whenever a magnetic compass is brought to near the straight current carrying wire, so he noticed the deflection of magnetic compass needle. Okay. From that, he came to know that the electricity and magnetism are dependent. So, in particular, that experiment, the alignment of the needle is tangential to an imaginary circle. So, if we bring the needle to near the straight current carrying conductor, so the needle moves such that the alignment of the needle. That means the needle points in a direction such that it is the tangent to the circle, imaginary circle around the wire. If the needle is kept at a distance r from the straight wire, so the needle directs like a tangent at a radius, tangent to a circle of radius r. Okay, just like that. Now convention. So there is generally we follow this convention how to express whether it may be current or field. So if it is field, even for electric field and magnetic field, so we follow this convention representation. A current or a field emerging out of the plane of the paper is depicted or represented by a encircled dot. We read it as encircled dot. So that means dot over the circle. So just like this, or that means out of the plane of the paper means with the either current or plane which is coming towards us. If we are seeing this screen, that is coming towards us is out of the plane of the paper. Okay, that such currents or fields are depicted with this notation encircled dot. In other case, a current or a field going into the plane of the paper is depicted by a cross, encircled cross. Okay, that is pointing inside the screen. So as we said just before, however, the needle is tangent to the imaginary circle around a wire. Here we are seeing if there is no current, so the needle points in a fixed direction wherever you keep. Okay, so wherever you keep the magnetic compass needle, so it shows in a particular direction, irrespective of the position of the compass around the wire, but that is not carrying the current. So in other case, it is carrying a current I. Okay. Now here we are seeing the current is upward direction. So just like we say that right hand thumb rule, if we curl our fingers in the direction of current, magnetic field will be along thumb direction. In reverse, vice versa, it is vice versa. If we alter the concept, that means if we say in reverse direction, if the current direction is along thumb direction, the magnetic field direction is along the curved fingers. Okay. However, we are curving, it is in circular shape. So similarly, the field will be in circular shape. Okay, that means around the straight wire, magnetic field is formed in a circular manner. If you want to know the direction of magnetic field at any point on the circle, so at that point, tangent to that circle at that point gives the magnetic field direction. Similarly, compass needle also shows in that way. So we are observing here. So if the current direction is altered, in this figure, the current is going in upward direction. If we alter the current direction, so the arrows are altered. Okay, earlier here, if we see at this point inward, here it is outward. Similarly, we can observe. So either moving charges or currents produces a magnetic field in the surrounding space. So that means either moving charges or currents produces magnetic field in the surrounding space. Current is nothing but motion of charges in both either any one, either current or moving charges produces current magnetic field. Now, the magnetic field of several sources is the vector addition of magnetic field of each individual sources. If there are many sources of magnetic field at a place, so the resultant magnetic field is the vector sum of all those magnetic fields due to individual sources. Okay, magnetic force is defined from the Lorentz force. Okay, uh, the the Lorentz force is this. The force on electric charge Q is whenever the Lorentz force is the force on electric charge, so it is because of electric field and magnetic field. So F is equal to Q into E of R plus V cross B of R. Okay. So the first force is the force due to electric field on the charge and the force on the charge due to magnetic field. So the corresponding magnetic force is F is equal to Q into V cross B, V bar cross B bar. Here V and B are vectors and Q is scalar. If we and it is the cross product. So therefore Q will be sine theta. So if we write it, Q will be sine theta. Theta is the angle between V and B. So from the above equation, it is clear that the force depends on the magnitude of charge and the polarity of charge, whether it is positive charge or negative charge. Based on that, the direction of force depends. Okay, and similarly, the velocity, the vectors, velocity and magnetic induction. Okay, whenever we say vector, if the direction changes, force changes. If the magnitude changes, force changes. Okay, so in that way, force depends on magnitude and polarity of charges and the vectors v bar and b bar. Okay, the force is zero. So when the force is zero, we see the different possibilities the force is zero if V is zero. Obviously, if V is zero, the product of zero with other non-zero quantities gives us zero. So, okay, sorry. If force is zero, if V and B are either parallel or anti-parallel. So even for non-zero values of V and B also, if they are parallel or anti-parallel, the force is zero. Since sine pi, if it is parallel, sine zero, sine 0, 0. If it is anti-parallel, sine pi, that is also zero. Okay, the force is zero when V and B are either parallel or anti-parallel. Okay. So in other case, the force is zero if the charge is not moving. So if V is equal to zero also, the force is zero. The force on the charge due to magnetic field is zero. So if there exists a charge, non-moving charge in magnetic field, no force on it. Okay. So that is not the case in electric field. Okay, if the stable charge is present in the electric field, still there exists some force on the charge. But if there exists a stable charge in the magnetic field, there is no magnetic force on the charge. If we see the units for magnetic induction from above equation, B equal to F by QV. F is the force, Q is the charge, V is the velocity, meter per second. And by writing all corresponding quantities, the units are Newton second per coulomb meter. Newton second per coulomb meter, or it is equal to, so very conventional unit it is, the unit for magnetic induction mostly used is Tesla. So it is the SI unit of magnetic induction. Tesla, 1 Tesla is equal to 10 power 4 Gauss. So Gauss is the another unit to measure magnetic induction. Okay. Therefore, Tesla is somewhat bigger unit. Therefore, 1 Tesla is equal to 10 power 4 Gauss. So Earth also possesses magnetic field. We know it. So it is about 3.6 into 10 power minus 5 Tesla. Now, circular current loop as a magnetic dipole. So, in this topic, we are going to confirm ourselves that a current loop act as a magnetic dipole. So, we have to have an idea how does it act as a magnetic dipole. So, we have the idea by comparing the current loop or magnetic loop with electric dipole. Magnetic dipole with electric dipole. So that means if there is a, if it acts like a magnetic dipole, so we are comparing with electric dipole. In case of electric dipole, we have studied the expressions for electric field on the axial point of the dipole and the electric field on the equatorial point of the dipole. Okay, we have seen the two cases and we have derived for the electric field strength. So similarly here we derive the magnetic field strength or magnetic induction in two cases. When it is a point on axial point and a point on equatorial line. Okay, so in the two cases we calculate the magnetic induction value, and after that we compare it with the electric field due to electric dipole. If they possess the similar expressions, we confirm ourselves that so current loop act as a magnetic dipole. Okay, that is the thing we are going to do. In case of circular coil, the field on axial point, and the approximation is when x is much greater than r. R is the radius of the current loop. Here we are considering r is the radius of the current loop. Now here V is equal to, generally in this case we consider the magnetic field due to a current carrying circular loop of radius capital R, and we are taking a point at a distance x from the center of the coil. So in that case, by taking this approximation, generally, okay, we are getting this B is equal to mu naught I R square by 2x cube. So in this equation, we are doing some manipulation to get the magnetic moment of the current carrying loop. So we are multiplying and dividing with pi, and it is pi r square. Pi r square is area, and here we have written area, and I into A is the magnetic moment of a current loop. Okay, therefore I into area, current into cross sectional area. So that is the magnetic moment capital M. It is a vector. Okay, mu naught M by 2 pi x cube. Okay, if we multiply and divide with 2, so mu naught 2m by 4 pi x cube. Okay, so it is the magnetic induction value on axial point. Similarly, on a point in the plane of the loop at a distance x from the center, so it is in the plane of the loop but far away from the center. Okay, so we say that it is we can assume that, so a point on equatorial line in case of dipole, electric dipole. So similarly here, for x greater than r, we are getting mu naught m by 4 pi x cube. Okay, so these two equations are in analogy with the electric field due to electric dipole. So where the coefficient is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2 p by x cube. P is the dipole moment, small p is the dipole moment. Electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2 p by x cube on axial point. On equatorial point, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught p by x cube. So these two are in analogy with the electric field due to electric dipole, except the here where the electric dipole moment is replaced by here magnetic dipole moment M. So in that case, the coefficient is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, here mu naught by 4 pi, right? That one. So therefore, from these 2 points, it is clear that the current loop is acting as a magnetic dipole. So we say that the current loop is equivalent to a magnetic dipole. Okay, a planar current loop is equivalent to a magnetic dipole at larger distances, and its dipole moment is I into A. Okay, so this concept led the Ampere to suggest that all magnetism is due to circulating currents. Okay, whatever the magnetism exists, that is due to the circulating currents. He thought that. Okay. However, there are elementary particles such as an electron or a proton also carry an intrinsic magnetic moment. It is not accounted by circulating currents. That means it is also because of the motion of the charge, but not the revolving motion. It is the spin motion. Okay, a little different one. So now bar magnet as an equivalent solenoid. In above case, we have seen that a circular current carrying loop is equivalent to a magnetic dipole. Here uh, the such collection of circular loops form a solenoid. A solenoid is equivalent to a bar magnet. So we are going to see that. However, the solenoid is equivalent to a bar magnet. So in this case, so the magnetic dipole moment associated with current loop was this one, I into A actually. So if there are n turns in a solenoid, the total current is n into I. And into A. A is the cross-sectional area of the solenoid. Okay. The resemblance of magnetic field lines for a bar magnet and a solenoid suggests that bar magnet may be thought of a large number of circulating currents in analogy with a solenoid. So cutting a bar magnet is cutting a bar magnet in half is like cutting a solenoid. So if we cut the bar magnet, we get smaller magnets. The same way, we cut the solenoid, we get smaller solenoids with weaker magnetic properties. So the field lines remain continuous, emerging from one phase of the solenoid and entering into the other phase. If we keep the two adjacent solenoids side by side, such that if we stick them, so the field lines are continuous. The lines emerging from one face of the solenoid enters into the other face. Okay, just like that. Let the solenoid consist of n turns per unit length. We are considering a solenoid consisting of n turns per unit length, and its length is 2L and its radius is A. In that case, here I have shown, so total here to here 2L, and its radius is A, here shown A. In this case, we are considering a small segment of thickness dx, okay, at a distance of x from the center of the solenoid. Okay, it is the center of the solenoid. From here to here, the distance is x. Okay, right. Here to here, the distance is x and its thickness is dx. So we are using the similar expression. So mu naught dx. So that means, so just like this, mu naught ni a square by 2x plus a square whole power 3 by 2. So, so we are calculating the field at this point, the point on axis of the solenoid, that is the axial point. We are considering a small segment of solenoid. So that means it is equivalent to a circular loop carrying a current I. Okay. So therefore, in this dx width, so there are n dx turns, n small n dx number of turns are there, and each turn is having a current I. Therefore, we are writing n dx into I, the total number of turns into I in this considered width. Okay, it is the dV expression, and after that we see the further calculation. Here, okay. So here we are seeing the, so right. Oh, now we are seeing the remaining part. So this one, right here we are seeing we have to integrate from minus L to L totally over the entire length. We have to integrate or we have to run our dx over the entire length of the cylinder. Therefore, the limits are from minus L to L. And for the far axial field, that means the point considered is far away from the center. In that case, R is much greater than A and R is much greater than L. So here the considered thing, so from center to field point is small r. What we are seeing here is small r. Okay, so that is the, so if it is r and if it is x, the remaining distance is r minus x. That is obvious, right? So here we are seeing, so in above two cases, that means by using the two approximations, r minus x whole square plus a square whole power 3 by 2 is equal to r cube. So we are substituting this in the denominator of above equation, and it is the resulting equation. So integration minus L to L dx, integration of dx is x. By substituting the limits, we get 2L. Okay, so totally B is equal to, so mu naught IA square by 2R cube into 2L. So here its total value is equal to magnetic moment. It is the number of turns, current into area. So finally we are getting mu naught by 4 pi into 2m by r cube. Okay, this one. So this is the magnetic field due to solenoid we have got, but the same equation is also applicable for the magnetic field due to a bar magnet at a point on the axis which is far away from the center of the bar magnet. So the equation is same in the case of bar magnet. So therefore we are confirming that, so the solenoid is equivalent to a bar magnet. So provided that however the field lines are exist for a bar magnet, the similar field lines exist for a solenoid. So now we see the in the figure by comparing the two things simultaneously. Okay, it is the figure. So I have kept here bar magnet, and north pole is upward direction, south pole is downward direction. So we are observing the field lines. Okay, the field lines are from south to north inside the bar magnet, and outside the bar magnet north to south. So totally they are forming continuous field lines. So similarly in case of solenoid also, so if it is the current direction and we are observing the similar field lines. Okay, so in that way a solenoid is equivalent to a bar magnet. So here I am stopping. So in this lecture we have learned that a circular current loop is equivalent to a magnetic dipole and a solenoid is equivalent to a bar magnet. Okay. So thank you very much for watching.